Day Diggly Docuses. I'm joined today by Blodwen Todwen, who's wearing a cone because she's been spayed. Her uterus has been removed, had an ovariohysterectomy, and I feel as though I've had hysteria because I finished A Day of Fallen Night. Look, it's up there, but I can't reach it because she's like out for the count. I can't move. She has a huge gash on her stomach, but it wasn't as gash as this book, and that's slang for anyone who doesn't know for not great. The Day of Fallen Night takes place 500 years before the events of the Priory of the Orange Tree, and a lot of the problems that I had with this book, and I'll leave my review down below, is like the exact same thing I have to say about this new book. It's exceptionally slow-paced, wouldn't you agree, Blod? Where everything really starts to pick up at around the page 300, 350 mark. Now, when you're dealing with an 800-page book, that's a long time to wait. So its slow uptake is akin to Priory of the Orange Tree. What's that, Blodwen? Okay, let's talk about the end. One of my main gripes about Priory was that it turned into a one-chapter Charlie. It didn't matter what any of the characters did because the story kind of resolved itself. With this book, the exact same thing happens. Now, I'm not one to turn down a battle sequence, but I have to say, surely the worms and the wyverns were going to leave when the star approached. Like that was going to happen. The characters could have sat at home on their sofas and gone, you know what, maybe we'll just let everything pass. My next point might just be a quirk of Samantha Shannon's writing. A Shannonism, if you will, says Blodwen Todwen. And that is the characters act very nonchalant about something which I feel is quite big. One of the characters is revealed to be the chosen one, and during that announcement, all the characters just go, oh yeah, that seems about right. Yeah, okay then. Like this is like a big thing. This is a big thing that hasn't happened for centuries, and everyone's just going, oh yeah, that makes sense. But before I whittle on, I will say, going back to the battle sequence, Glorian giving birth and going back out onto the battlefield, that is the most metal thing I've ever read. That was incredible. Like, well done. That is like the one scene in this book I can't even... Claps all round. Claps all round. Metal. And while that may be metal, it really is courage and determination that makes these characters move, because something bad has to happen in order for Shannon to progress the story. We move into people dying for no real reason. Okay, apart from the bit where they cut the rope. Again, that was quite cool. But apart from that scene, everything else feels a little lackluster. And we could talk about the prose being lackluster. The Priory and A Day of Fallen Night have very different writing styles. Priory is not shy in its descriptions, and A Day of Fallen Night is not shy in listing things. Simply, they read like two very different books. And while this might come across as a criticism, I actually appreciate it. Even the little changes in the linguistics of how the countries, of how names are pronounced, it's almost as if Samantha Shannon knows that there's going to be a great vowel shift that happens across the centuries. And it's those little things in a great wodge of stodge that I appreciate. But while I'm aware a lot of people didn't like the flowery nature of Priory, it does feel as though the veneer has been removed in terms of A Day of Fallen Night. It feels like it's lacking any substance. What it lacks in terms of prose substance, it does gain in nuance. There's a nice way in which Samantha Shannon ties the two books together. There is a death in A Day of Fallen Night, which is referenced within Priory subtly as an anecdote. So there's little winks and nods throughout the lore of these two novels without it being grotesquely obvious, even though sometimes that does happen. I made the observation with Priory of the Orange Tree that there's representation almost for representation's sake. That doesn't really change for A Day of Fallen Night. There's a lot of representation. Does it do anything to the book? No, anyone could be anyone, and again, nothing would really change. While there's slight differences in terms of their prose and the little nuances between them, these are ultimately two birds of a feather. I feel as though your opinions on one will inherently affect the other. I didn't like Priory, and I didn't particularly enjoy A Day of Fallen Night, even though I would say that it is... I think it has the edge over Priory. But nevertheless, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10. I'm very interested in reading the Bone season, but I'm not desperate to read it.